What's up, chaps and chapettes? Welcome back to another Tryhards Rtg Glory episode. Today, basically, we're making another team. We're doing something which we've not done before, making a second team. I wouldn't really advise it to most of you, to be honest. I wouldn't really advise to have two teams, especially going into foot champs. You know, obviously, the game is super competitive. It's about the competition. And if you've got two teams, you're not going to be able to get the best team that you can get on foot champions to really compete at the top end. And obviously, I've heard a lot of people saying before, foot champs is basically the whole of FIFA. Like, FIFA is way too competitive based at the moment. It needs to have a more of a casual kind of vibe. And I'm actually not qualified for foot champs this weekend. I'm just playing division rivals. I'm trying to, which for me is more chill, to be honest anyway. But it's actually because I didn't qualify. I basically didn't have enough time. So, but the budget is 240k for this team, which isn't too bad. One thing you have to bear in mind is that we're coming up against very good teams. We're coming up with a custom tactics. It's got press after possession loss. That is what Gegen pressing is. It's basically as soon as you lose the ball, you're going to be pressing very quickly. And you can copy and paste those other tactics there. But I will say that the defensive width is very narrow, because that is kind of a way that Liverpool defend. They bunch up in the middle, try and stop the threat through the middle of a pitch. You know, certain teams do that. They favour putting players in the middle of a pitch, because obviously that's how the goals are ultimately going to be scored. Unless, of course, they're like whipping it into the box. But, you know, that's where the goal is, in the middle of a pitch. But nonetheless, the attacking side of it, we've got Roberto Firmino. So, as you can see, it's pretty much a Liverpool team, apart from the two centre-backs. Firmino's on false 9. I think right forward Salah, we had him on, like, pretty balanced. And then Mane was, I think, maybe getting behind. I don't know. I think you would have already seen it anyway. But get forward on Oxlade-Chamberlain. Wijnaldum is on balanced. Left back and right back overlap and get forward on the attack. And the reason that we do that is basically with a 4-3-2, when you're creating... you're actually having 7 attacking players. You've got the 2 centre mids coming to make it 5 attacking, and then you've got left back and right back coming in. So 7 going forward. So it's a very aggressive attacking formation. And it's, you know... It's different to the way that Guardiola plays. You know, it's a different type of system. They do press in a similar manner. I think maybe you could argue Liverpool a bit more sort of aggressive in the way that they do press. It's kind of a trademark of Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool. The Gegen pressing, you know, winning the ball back high up the pitch. And it makes sense, you know. You win the ball back high up the pitch, and therefore you're going to create better chances. And that is... actually what I'm able to do very often in this game, even though it is a bit more difficult, because the transitions in FIFA do take much more time. Well, no, sorry, take much less time than real life football, because obviously it's you know, 12-minute game. It's a sped up version of the game, so the transitions are quicker, which means it's a bit harder to press people, because you can't really trap them in the same way. But then again, you know, I am winning the ball back a lot of the time, and it's gone like. Looking at some of these tactical analysis videos, it does change your mindset, because you know that time where you're always like, yo, I keep losing the ball, like, what is going on right now? Now I kind of see it in a different way. I'm like, yo, good pressing, to be fair, you know, like, it's changing the mindset and seeing it from sort of like a manager's kind of perspective in a way. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's a game. There's a lot of RNG. If it was pro clubs, there probably wouldn't be too much to complain about, but, you know, you're only controlling one player at a time, so you've got 10 randomized positions, basically. Which is why my dad was literally speaking to me a minute ago. He was like, you know, if you want to compete and all that, then you got to get like less mad at the game. And I told him, like, if I'm playing Fortnite, that game's very competitive as well, but I don't really get mad. And the reason being is that it's just like nowhere near as much RNG. It's still got RNG with like who's going to win the game, but it's just like with this game you're only controlling one player at a time. There's plenty of RNG, but nonetheless. We're 5-0 up in this game. It really is an absolute battering. And that's the thing, is that this... I think there's a couple of people saying, or just... You know, I was just thinking about the fact that the 4-5-1 is a very patient attacking game. You know, that is ultimately the Guardiola game. It's attacking, but doing it in a very patient manner. Because you're basically dragging around the opposition, almost like a game of chess. You're sort of putting them in awkward positions, so that when they get the ball back, you're able to press them very quickly and get the ball straight back off them and dominate. If you do want to see the Pep Guardiola tactics and you haven't really seen them, go back to the previous video. But they kind of play a little bit similarly, and obviously I've said like the way they press, they do press kind of similarly. But I think Liverpool are a bit more direct in their approach to scoring goals as opposed to lots of kind of short-range passing. They do actually hold a lot of the ball, though. But, yeah, they're more of a direct team, and that is kind of what we're doing. We're pressing LB a lot, which is actually something which I recommend to everyone. Is when you're even if you're not doing an LBA pass, you know, LBA passes, little 1-2s are really good, but just LB, if you spam LB, then all of the players around you would start to make runs. And I'm actually going to go into kind of the pattern of play that I saw in a tactical analysis video of Liverpool. And what they do is most of their attacks obviously stem. They actually stem from the right back or the left back from the tactical analysis video that I saw anyway. So they give it to the left back and right back. And then Salah will sometimes drop off a bit, which is why I've got Salah on balance so that he can sometimes kind of drop off a bit, sometimes make the ball in behind. Make the run in behind. But he'll drop off a bit and then Chamberlain will make the run. So we'll kind of drag the left back and then the right centre mid will make that run into the space where the left back has left. So I'm really often running down the right-hand side, for example, with Trent Alexander-Arnold, running down the right-hand side and getting Salah to kind of run around, dragging the left back out. And then I'm spamming LB to get Chamberlain forward and to get him in behind. But, you know, that's just one pattern. You can do it. You're getting 3 players on the right-hand side, and often this can cause a lot of overloads. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting a left back or right back, you know, creating that space. Also, when you are running just with a left back or right back, you're freeing up space for your midfielders, because if you're viewing it like a game of chess, when you're literally down that left-hand side, you're allowing all your other pieces to move freely, because they're no longer being you're not going to be able to mark players easily when they're moving. So as long as you're starting out with a left back or right back, then I think you can quite consistently create good chances, especially using the wings. And also another really good thing that I like, it actually works really well in FIFA as well, that's ported over quite nicely, is obviously I've got Firmino as the striker, and what he is a false 9, so he drops off. And obviously a false 9, if you didn't already know, it's basically... I think it was introduced a long time ago, but one famous game it was used in is Lionel Messi as a false 9 against Real Madrid. I think when they beat him like 5-0 or something. And it kind of confuses the defenders, because if you're a false 9, you're meant to be a striker type thing. They think you're a striker, and then you kind of drop into the midfield, creating an extra midfielder. And as a defender, you're not going to know whether to like sit back or go with them. So that makes it quite confusing. But what it does here, as we get a red card in this game, which completely ruins the game for us. But what it does here is when Firmino drops off, Mane almost becomes almost like a striker at times on the counter-attack. So he sometimes goes in narrow, but he's a winger, but he sometimes comes into the middle of the pitch, but he can create those really dangerous runs, like in behind. So Firmino drops off, the centre-back might follow, and then Mane's making those really dangerous runs in behind. Obviously, you've got Salah on the right-hand side as well. So that actually works really, really well. And I was really surprised it actually it works almost like exactly how it does in real life. So in terms of like replicating tactics from real life to a game, this one is one of the most effective. So we do lose that game just because of a red card, to be honest. We kind of fell apart. We're up against a guy with a Man City kit. And I just remember like Liverpool absolutely slapping Man City, because Jurgen Klopp is kind of like Guardiola's nemesis in a way with the way that he attacks. You know, we've seen Guardiola basically have to set up a different system just to play Klopp type thing. I do think these are some, you know, two of the best managers in the current era type thing. I wouldn't say they are literally 1 and 2, but they are definitely up there. I'd say probably Guardiola is the best manager of the era right now. But we get the first goal. And what we're looking to do here with Salah is I'm always thinking about what player he's controlling and kind of just waiting for my players to make runs. I actually do a bit of, I think that's RB dribbling. So it's when you do like that body feint. He goes to take me out. He takes me out. We get the penalty. Tuck it away, Roberto Firmino, making it 2-0. And it's a bit of a nightmare. We're 8 minutes in and he's getting a bollocking. Hate to see it, man. So Salah gets the ball here. And I don't know whether I've showed that many examples of it, but a lot of the goals are from that. He gets the ball and we just tackle him straight away, and that's what we're doing. We are sort of pressing him. We're instantly we're instantly going at them as soon as they win the ball. And I've actually done it on pro clubs. And because you're able to press in a more clever manner than the AI can, because you're controlling each individual player by yourself, we went on like a 20... In fact, we're still unbeaten. I haven't actually played pro clubs in quite a long time, so I broke my wrist. But we're like 20 games unbeaten. It was absolutely mad. So you've got the front three just running at them. And it's just that vibe, like the aggressive style of play. You just like, let's have it, lads. Like, let's have it. Just go at them and take the ball. Whereas obviously, Man City is a bit more patient. Like I say, it does press in a similar manner. But I like the sort of, is the word gung ho approach? I don't know. It's like, it's just sort of, you just go at them. And that is one of the things. You almost don't have to think. I mean, you do in the build-up to create, like, good chances. But you almost don't have to think when you're just literally pressing them and getting the ball back and creating these epic chances. And, you know, I'm scoring a lot of goals. It is one of those tactics where you're going to have a lot of fun playing with it. And I think that's very important for FUT Champions because I've played with a 4-2-3-1 plenty of times. You know, the meta formation. You might sit back. You might sit quite deep. And I'll just get bored, to be honest. And that is the reason why I'm doing this real-life tactic stuff, in a way. Partially just because I started discovering, like, tactical analysis videos and I just really enjoyed them. But also just because the game's boring without it, for me. Like, I'm satisfied from these tactics and implementing them into the game. Like, it's actually very enjoyable for me to do this because it's like... It's almost like Pokemon games. Like, you think they're for kids and then you discover there's an extra layer to it, in a way. Like, it sounds like a weird example, but... me and my brother were doing, like, Pokemon battles all the time on the DS. And then we started to kind of discover, like, all the EV training. I don't know whether any of you have been into it, but, you know, all of that stuff. And then certain moves that affect stats that we'd never touched before. We'd just go for, like, attacking stats. And then you, like... Anyway, what I'm saying is, you know, there's a deeper level, and I'm searching for that deeper level. You know, whether that's... I mean, competitive-wise... The problem is, like, I would be, like, I think, personally, I mean, it sounds a bit, what's the word? Aggressive, egotistical to say, but I think I'd be right up there, to be honest, like, especially, like, at least in the top 100, if I had a sick team. And, you know, I've heard plenty of pros say that this game is the most pay-to-win FIFA. It is. It's obvious. But I've just kind of found another venture type thing, and that is the tactics for me, so... yeah, this guy getting absolutely wrecked. In fact, I wasn't even playing for the second goal. I think I was texting one of my mates at the time, and I kept sort of like, I don't know whether you have those games where you're like texting someone and you kind of, you can't air them because like you're playing the game. No, because obviously you're texting them. You can't just air them. Like, you got to be responding. So you're playing the game at the same time. But that was actually a really good example there. Although he does just pass the ball straight to me, we sort of press him, get the ball straight back. Chamberlain tucks it away, and that finishes him off 4-2. We're getting the dobs in. We're going up on the division rivals scene. We might actually get a decent amount of division rivals games and get a good reward. But yeah, we're on our grinds. We're on our grinds, no doubt about it. We're going to qualify for FUT Champions next weekend. Don't you worry about that. Currently rank 1. But yeah, chaps and chappets, that is going to be the end of the episode, of course. Make sure to leave a like if you want to see more of this type of stuff. Make sure to check out the previous video for the Pep Guardiola tactics as well. I've got loads of other tactical kind of videos. But yeah, thanks for watching, chaps and chappets, and I'll see you on the next one. Oof.